What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Fight Day MMA Show. I am your host, Kalen Nero, along with my main man here, Kane and Sonye. And today we're going to be giving y'all a post-fight breakdown for UFC Fight Night 172, or what they are now calling UFC Fight Night Fight Island 1. So the first card on the preliminary card we had was the only fight on the preliminary card that we covered, and it was Jack Shore versus Aaron Phillips. This was mostly a ground game type of fight, so I'm going to hand it over to my man Kane and Sonya to kind of give y'all a breakdown of what he saw, and then I'll kind of give y'all a little bit of what I saw.
So in the predictions before the fight, man, we decided that Shore was definitely going to use his ground game here. That's his strength. He's an undefeated fighter coming in. He's a prospect. He's a top-notch prospect looking to have a bright future. Aaron Phillips came in on about a week and a half notice, 2 week notice, and we said his key to victory was to keep this fight off the ground, stay on his feet, and ultimately, Shore did what he does best, and he took his fight to the ground in both rounds of this fight. He took the fight to the ground. He beat Aaron up on the ground, and he was able to secure the submission in the second round, which that's what he does, man. He's been doing this for 13 fights now. He's 13-0, and I think it was really hard for Aaron to take this fight on short notice, and it looked like it definitely showed in this fight that it was on short notice, but it shows a lot of heart by Aaron taking this fight. Right. And he worked his butt off, but at the end of the day, Shore took that victory.
Right. And I think that's always the hard thing for guys whenever they're not technically wrestlers, to take those fights with wrestlers on short notice. It's always a problem there, just because it always takes a lot of time to get used to that cardio that you're going to use in the fight whenever you're dealing with someone who's constantly trying to take you down. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but takedown defense really takes a lot out of you, more than just kind of moving around the octagon. Trying to keep a man from putting you on the ground really, really does take a lot of energy. And kudos to Aaron, man. Aaron really tried his heart out. But, I mean, that's always been Aaron's downfall in the UFC. In his previous 2 fights in the UFC, he had been taken down 11 times. So that's just something that Aaron definitely needs to work on as a fighter. But, I mean, he's going to shake back from that. And I think Aaron may get one more shot in the UFC. But that'll be his make-or-break fight, I think. If he wins that one, he'll stay in. If not, then it'll be back home for him. As for Shore, I think Shore is definitely turning out to be a really high-level prospect. He's definitely looking really good, coming in 13-0, beating a vet kind of like Aaron. And I think Shore might be fighting top 15 sooner than later. So I look forward to that. For the next,
I want to say this was the 8th.
What's up?
I wanted to say this was the 8th submission victory, but that's definitely something to keep a watch out for. He might be a submission artist coming in.
And I mean, Aaron's a black belt too. You know, he's a black belt under Tim Crater. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive that Shore was able to get in there and kind of handle him on the ground the way that he did. So now onto the main card. We have the first fight was the Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Munir Lazez. And this was a barn burner, man. It ended up winning fight of the night. I thought the co-main event actually might have stole it from them. But they ended up getting the award. And, man, it was a good fight. Camden, you want to give me
personally? Beginning of this fight, before this fight started, I thought somebody was going to put to bed, and man, it looked that like Alhassan was going to put Munhoz to bed, and Munhoz showed us that he has a chin. He showed us in this fight in the first round he has a chin. He took an onslaught. Alhassan gave everything he had in that first round onslaught. You could see after that he was tired. Right. He's never faced anybody who could take his punches like that, and Munhoz showed that his chin is legit, and this was a UFC debut, and he showed out, and he showed that he might be a force to reckon with in his near future. Right. Everything he did was on point and was calculated, and he looked like he was the vet in this fight, and it was very, very good, very interesting to see.
Right, and I think the interesting story with this is the kid from Dana White's son's birthday party coming up to him and showing him the video of Munir and saying, "You need to get this guy in the UFC." And Sean Shelby was very upset about it, so he said, "You know what? I'm going to feed him to Alhassan, who's looking to be a promising prospect, who's been finishing people in the first round." And it went a lot different than everybody expected. Like you said, Munir definitely showed a good chin. Alhassan kind of bloated up. You can kind of see he kind of turned into Francis Ngannou in the Stipe fight, where Stipe, after Ngannou got out of the first round and didn't finish Stipe, he really slowed down and kind of had that swelling in his legs and his upper body. You saw a lot of that with Alhassan as well. I saw in his lower body, his legs kind of started to swell. He was definitely getting really tired, getting that lactic acid buildup. I just didn't think his cardio was where he needed it to be, because he's so used to putting people away so early in the fight. All 10 of his wins had been first round finishes, you know. So in that case, he really gassed like really early on in the fight, and Munir was super technical, man. He might have some of the prettiest kicks I've seen in the UFC. Since, I mean, the only person I can really compare to that is Edson Barbosa, maybe. His kicks were magnificent. He really did a good job of keeping distance, playing distance well. He kind of got caught in the first round with Alhassan being so explosive at the time. But he did a really good job of shaking back and really making it into a technical brawl. He also showed really good ground skills to go with his effective striking. Now we don't really know how well Alhassan can grapple, but Munir definitely had the grappling advantage there too, which shows that he's more of a well-rounded fighter than maybe people would have expected him being a kickboxing coach. So yeah,
Munir definitely proved us wrong here.
Yeah, definitely.
He definitely stood out.
Yeah, I mean that's the only fight I got wrong on the main card, you know. But I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard whenever you have a guy who was in the UFC just demolishing people, who's a demolition man, and then you have a guy come in that no one's heard of, and he turns out to be like a kickboxing champion, you know.
Well, that's something to look at for most of those guys who knock out people in the first round, like Ngannou, like you said, like Alhassan right here. Those guys are so used to knocking people out early that they'll blow up in the first round and gas themselves. And it's until they get used to that they become a real force in the fight game.
Right. Like and much like with Ngannou, how he's been training his cardio and he's looked a lot better in his last few fights, even though they have only gone in the first round. In the one fight he did go a little bit further distance. He did keep up with his cardio. So Alhassan may have to reevaluate a little bit and change his training up, much like Ngannou did, in order to get to that point as well. All right, so
I want to say he's 34. So quick.
All right, so our next fight we have Molly McCann versus Talia Santos. This fight went about as expected. I'm gonna go first on this one, Kanan, if you don't mind. I really enjoyed this fight. I thought Talia Santos really turned out to be the prospect that we thought she was gonna be. She showed that she was good in all facets of the fight. She had really good kicks, a really technical striker. She did a good job keeping McCann. Sorry, I keep calling her McMahon, and I really do apologize for that. McCann's kind of a shorter. They call her meatball. She's inside, want to dirty box you, hit you with uppercuts and hooks, and I don't want to stay at striking range. She doesn't want to stay at striking range with you. She wants to make the fight dirty. She wants to turn it into a brawl. Talia Santos did an amazing job of using the inside leg kick and in the push kick inside to really keep McCann off of her and be able to use her length advantage to really just put a master class on McCann. Also, Talia did a really good job of mixing in the takedown every once in a while to keep McCann guessing. And whenever she did get her to the ground, she really had the grappling advantage as well. I think Talia won at all facets of the fight. I think she's a really promising prospect. And I mean, she almost got the rear naked choke finish in the third round. So she really showed that she can strike. She can use effective management with her range, and she can do almost everything on the ground. Get the takedown as well as basically pass whatever defense that Molly McCann was really throwing at her and getting to her back almost every time.
I believe that we were absolutely correct in this fight, man. We both picked Santos to win this fight, and even in our predictions, we noted that Santos can finish in all facets of the game. She's good in all facets of the fight. That's what she proved in this fight. She dominated in every position. I'm pretty sure she won every round. I want to say she won every round.
Definitely.
But and I really thought she was going to get the finish in the third round. I was hyped. I was watching. I was like, she came back. She lost her UFC debut, and she just beat number 14. So she's looking to get another top 15 fight in her next one.
Yeah, I mean, I can see probably Montana De La Rosa as well coming off of a win recently. That would probably be Talia's first fight. And then McCann will probably just become kind of that gatekeeper for the top 15. She might drop to 15, maybe right outside of the top 15, and so she'll be fighting to either get back in the top 15 or fighting someone who's trying to get into the top 15 next. So for the next fight, this was a fight that we thought was going to be more of a wrestling match, and they did have a good bit of wrestling as well. But man, Jimmy Rivera versus Cody Stamann, it turned out to be a lot better brawl than I thought it was going to be. I kind of thought it might have been a technical wrestling match, but it ended up showing they both ended up showing that they have a lot more to their game than just being the wrestlers that they're noted as. We always knew Jimmy Rivera had explosive hands and he was really quick, but he was never known as a finisher. And I mean, he obviously didn't finish Cody in this fight, but he really hit him with some big shots. And I think if he'd have let his hands go, he probably could have got the finish that night. So yeah, Keenan, why don't you break this one down for us, man?
Man, Jimmy outstruck him. He in every round, more significant strikes. He was putting things together. For every punch that Cody threw, Jimmy had an answer. Jimmy was coming. Cody took him down. I want to say took him down once in this fight. Jimmy Rivera's only been taken once in every fight in his career. No more than once in a fight has he been taken down. Cody kept coming, and it was Jimmy's wrestling defense that kept him off the ground. Great balance. Every time that he was in the middle of the cage, he got a shot in on him, and he's hopping on one leg back to the cage, got to the cage, fought it off, and he just kept throwing. Jimmy was looking great in this fight, and I want to say it was his experience against those top level guys that have got him to this point. Like he lost to Jan, he's lost to Aljamain, he's lost to Marlon Moraes, and those fights have definitely prepared him for here. And I think he's ready for another big name in his next fight.
Right, and I think with Stamann looked big, man, for being a bantamweight. And I know they weighed in at featherweight, but man, he looked real thick.
Oh yeah.
But I think Stamann still has a very promising career ahead of him. He's still relatively young. He's still a really talented fighter. It's just he keeps getting thrown in the lion's den with really good fighters. It's going to take time. As for Rivera looked sharp, man. Rivera's hands, whenever he did let them go, it was always first. He always hit harder. He definitely got the best of all the exchanges. He did a really good job in the wrestling department as well. Normally, he dominated in all facets of the fight, much like Talia did in her fight. Yeah. And for that, I think Rivera probably earns another shot at the top 5. I can see maybe Pedro Munhoz next. Pedro's coming off of a loss to Aljamain Sterling, I believe. And he's right at that 5 spot. So I think Jimmy Rivera earned that shot at him. I don't think they fought yet either. So that'll be a good fight to make. And then Stamann.
Wasn't Frankie supposed to fight Munhoz in this card, but they got pulled?
Maybe so. But
I think
Frankie's trying to go to bantamweight now.
Because he was a featherweight. I want to say that was the fight before this one. That was the fight that got pulled before this one.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, because they stepped in last second for that. Yep. And then I think for Stamann's gonna go with a top 10 guy, like somebody right outside of the top 10 maybe, or maybe just in the top 10, like a Song Yadong or something like that. Maybe a Sean O'Malley I can see potentially. But I think they're going to fast-track Sean O'Malley to the top of the division. I think Sean O'Malley might get Jimmy Rivera next. You never know. So, speaking of Sean O'Malley, savage. But we're not going to talk about him today because he's not fighting.
I don't think Stamann want to fight Sean O'Malley, man.
I don't think anybody wants to fight Sean right now, man. Sean looks sharp. All right, guys, on to the co-main event that surprised just about everybody. I mean, it was crazy. So we had Tim Elliott versus Ryan Bonoy. Thanks to my boy John Enick for correcting my pronunciation on that one. This fight actually earned a lot of my respect. I was sitting here dogging it a little bit, like, man, why is this the co-main event? We got Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamann sitting right here. Why is this the co-main event? And then I realized something halfway through the fight, and I was like, oh, these guys just have unlimited gas tanks, and they're gonna scrap the whole time. And man. They did that. Tim Elliott showed really good cardio. He was real funky with his movement, kind of like his haircuts all the time, man. He's real funky. And he was real active at all times, really trying to stay moving. He was hitting Benoit with a bunch of stuff. Benoit definitely got the better of I thought Benoit kind of had the better of the striking exchanges. At a point in the fight, I was kind of contemplating on who I really thought was winning, because Elliott was definitely landing more, but Bonoy was really hitting him with hard shots. Bonoy definitely showed to be a promising prospect, though. Like I said, there was times in the fight where I thought he was kind of winning on the feet. Even though he wasn't landing more shots, he was landing better shots. And on the ground, I thought Bonoy really showed some promise, because Tim Elliott's a really good ground guy. He's a really good jiu-jitsu guy. He's known for putting people away on the ground. And Bonoy almost got him in a knee bar late in the fight. So he showed that. And there was a time where he scrambled, and he really showed that he had that real good Renzo Gracie BJJ. He's a New York guy. And I believe that with those things that he has, and him being such a young person, and Tim Elliott being such an experienced veteran, he's going to learn a lesson from this fight. And I think he'll still get a shot, another crack at the top 15 real soon. As for Elliott,
I know that comes.
I don't know. I think Elliott probably fights Matt Schnell next, another Louisiana boy.
I know that coming to this fight, we definitely had a lot of questions, wondering why But these guys definitely showed that they belong in the UFC, man. We were also questioning if the loser of this fight would even have a career after this fight.
Right.
And these guys put on a show. They were scrapping. Bonoy was throwing bombs, and he's knocked out several people, and that's what he's done. And this fight put on a show that we were not expecting. It was in that third round. Bonoy caught Elliott in that knee bar, and I thought he was over. That thing looked terrible. It was no place I would ever want my knee to be, because I already know I'm tapping, because that looked painful. And Elliott stayed cool, calm, collective.
Well, he kind of
fought out of the position.
He kind of made a face. You could tell it hurt him a little bit, but he was able to slide out.
Yeah, that's exactly. And then looking at the Twitter posts in the middle of the fight, a lot of people had Bonoy winning this fight.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people had Bonoy up.
There was
either up or tied.
At the end of the second round, I was kind of leaning towards Bonoy just because Bonoy had landed the bigger shots.
Yeah.
But Tim Elliott, when I kind of saw the stats come up and I saw the way the striking disparity between Elliott and Bonoy, I can understand how the judges gave him the fight. I don't think it was a robbery by any means. I'd have been okay with the draw though and let him run it back.
Yeah.
I think that's something that doesn't happen enough in MMA or in the UFC especially. I think that's something that needs to be done more often, where if the fight's really that close and we're not exactly sure, like the Dominic Reyes-John Jones fight, just make it a draw and have him run it back. Why does someone have to win that night? I still think Reyes won that fight, if you want me to be completely honest with you. But why not make it a draw? The Max Holloway-Alexander Volkanovski fight. I think Max won this one. I think Alex won the last one. But then they're going to give it to Volkanovski this time. At worst, that was a draw. Make it a draw. Make him run a third one. It's going to bring money in. Everybody loves that fight. You know? But anyway, that's a rant for another day.
They always go to the fence. They got to beat the champion completely. But I feel like a draw can happen. The champ's still going to keep the title in a draw. But a draw...
they did it with Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. They did it before. It wouldn't hurt to do it, you know? Yeah. Anyways, on to the main event. And Kanan. So, guys, me and Kanan have an ongoing competition, obviously. Whenever we do the main card, we try to see who picks the most correct fights. Last week, he got me on the main event. I picked a couple upsets in the Aldo and Max Holloway, so I went 3 out of 5. Kanan went 5-0. So he got me last week. Well, this week, I got your boy. I went 4-1 this week because I picked Kattar to win the main event, and Kanan picked Dan Ige. Therefore, he went 3-2. So one week to 1 week, we'll have to see after this Saturday. I say week, 1 card to 1 card because there's 3 fight cards this week, which is awesome for us fight fans. But we'll have to see after this week to see who was the champion of the Fight Island week. Maybe I'll make you a T-shirt if you win, buddy. So you can wear it to the thing, so you can stop wearing them old jerseys. The Marlins, man. Come on, man. You got to go for the Braves, dude, or the Astros at least.
Jersey. I had an Astros jersey on for the last video.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I didn't say nothing. All right, so yeah, on to the main event. So we got Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige, and definitely this was my pick for fight of the night. I thought it was a scrap the whole time. Honestly, I don't know how the Munir Lazzez guy won the fight of the night with Alhassan. I thought that was more one-sided than anything. I thought the Tim Elliott, Ryan Bonoy, or the Calvin Kattar and Dan Ige fight was definitely better options for fight of the night. But I don't make those decisions, so I mean, maybe the Munir guy deserved that. I mean, he definitely deserved an extra $50K, so why not give it to him, you know? Anyways, so I picked Calvin Kattar to win this fight just because I knew Calvin was going to be a better striker than Dan, and I think Kanan agreed with that in the pre-fight analysis. I also thought that Ige would have the wrestling advantage, but he was 0 for 8 on his takedowns against Kattar, and I think it's because he tried to initiate the takedowns too late in the fight. I think that was something he needed to implement from the beginning, but he thought that he might be able to outstrike Kattar, and Kattar's a really technical boxer, and I don't think there's many people in the featherweight division that can strike with him. He kind of reminds me of Holloway a lot with his 1-2s. He got a very technical 1-2, and he does a good job of sliding in and sliding out. However, Ige did a good job, and Ige really showed his toughness. But I think if Ige would have tried to mix in those takedowns a little bit early in the fight, he could have been more successful. But I think he waited until he was a little busted up to start trying to take him down. And when that's the case, you're not seeing everything the same way. Your reaction time's a little slower. You're a little tired. Everybody's wet now from sweating, so it's not going to be as easy to get a hold of him and get him down to the ground. So yeah, that would be my take on it. I think Kattar really just kind of pieced him up on the feet, though, man. I had it 4 rounds to 1 for Kattar. Ige's definitely still a promising prospect. He's still relatively young. He's still 6-2 in the UFC. I think maybe he'll get a guy like Shane Burgos next. Shane Burgos lost to Calvin Kattar as well, so I think that would be a good fight to make. And then as for Calvin, I think maybe a Brian Ortega or a Korean Zombie. I know Brian Ortega and Korean Zombie were supposed to fight, and the fight got canceled, and there's this whole big ordeal now about it. But I think Calvin deserves one of those 2 guys to try and work his way up into the top 3, to where after Zabit gets his title shot, then Calvin will be able to slide his way in there as well.
So before judging this fight, I knew Calvin Kattar struggled against wrestlers. So I saw Danny Ige. I was going for the upset. I thought he had a shot, but I mean, he didn't, like Kayvon said, he didn't start implementing his takedowns till later in the fight. He won the second round off his combos, and he stopped doing them. He got into panic mode early, and didn't stay calm, cool, and collected like you need to in order to think straight and think rationally. And he just started going for lazy takedowns. He got stuffed. No insult to Kattar's takedown defense. It was great. But Ige started going for lazy takedowns, lazy shots. It wasn't his best performance in the second half of that fight.
At one point, Kattar kind of pulled the one-legged pogo stick across the whole octagon to get to the cage.
Yeah, it was disappointing to see him do that later in that fight. I think he was in panic mode, and I wish he would have started earlier. And I wish I could have seen what he would have done if he started earlier, or if he just kept his combos coming.
Right.
Because that's how he won the second round. The second round was won off a combo.
Well, the problem is that at the second round, he broke Kattar's nose and he got a little bit of confidence, but then his eyes started to swell shut. And I can attest to that a little bit. Whenever you can't see out of one eye, you get a little bit hesitant on being able to throw your combo, just because you're not going to be able to see that shot coming, because you have like a limited vision there. So I can see why he kind of got hesitant there, where he might have been afraid to really throw that right hand, because then it could have been a potential of a left hand coming over the top and him not seeing it. And the shots you don't see are always the ones that put you away. So
yeah, I definitely agree. His eye was bad. His eye was swole. But also, Kattar came into this fight with a broken nose, apparently. Mm-hmm. Kattar's nose was broke before this fight. So that was props to him for taking that, because you knew that thing was going to hurt you even more. But I've been hearing a lot about people calling for Kattar Holloway, which if that happens, I'm excited.
That's a good fight, but I think Holloway pieces him up, man.
I think he does, but I think I will say
Kattar has a really stiff jab, though. Kattar has a really, really stiff jab. There was a time where he rocked Ige with a jab, and it was pretty surprising.
He kept him coming.
Yep. It was like a piston all night, man. He just kept popping him, keeping the shorter guy away from him.
So I think they're gonna make Kattar versus Holloway. I think that's some potential for the next fight.
Yeah, that would be a good fight for Max to get back to the title as well. If Max can go and beat Kattar right away, and if he beats him in like deciding fashion, like finishes him in the third round or something like that, then definitely I can see them doing that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. All right, guys. So that wraps up our UFC Fight Night 172 post-fight analysis. If you like what you see, again, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys for coming. I know I say a lot in the videos, by the way, too, guys. I'm really working on it. Today in this video, I hope I knocked it down a little bit. I know I almost just said again in that sentence. It's just me trying to fill sounds in my void of me talking. So, Mr. Jared, that's for you. I'm sorry I say it so much. But yeah, guys, thank y'all for coming back. Thank y'all for watching again. I hope you really enjoy the content still. And we'll be coming back at you with another video real soon for the Benavidez versus Figueiredo card. Thanks, guys. Peace.
Thank you.